All right, and we're back. Welcome back to the Joel Frank YouTube channel. This is the Go by Example tutorial series, and today we are covering variables. All right, let's get started. So yesterday we did the introduction. We talked about what Go is, what it's used for, why I use Go. We compared Go to some other languages. We did the Hello World program. We discussed the syntax and the structure of Go programs. We discussed what each statement meant, each line of the program meant, and we covered comments. So today, as I said, we're going to be covering variables. So Go has variable types. In Go, there are different type of variables. For example, we have integers or int, which stores integers, whole numbers, such as 1, 2, 3 or negative 1, 2, 3. We have the float 32, which stores floating point numbers with decimals, such as 19.99 or negative 19.99. We have string, which stores text, such as the Hello World from the famous Hello World program. String values are surrounded by double quotes. So as you can see here, it is surrounded by double quotes. We have Boolean or bool, which stores values with two states, true or false. All right, so how does one declare or create variables in Go? In Go, there are two ways to declare a variable. You can do so with the var keyword. Use the var keyword followed by variable name and type. So for example, var variable name type equals value. Note you always have to specify either type or value or both. So let's just make this, highlight this as Go code so that we can, right. The second option is with the colon equal sign. Use the colon equal sign followed by the variable value. So syntax would be variable name colon equal sign, as we can see here. Note in this case, the type of variable is inferred from the value, which means that the compiler decides what type the variable is based on what you give it. So if you give it like a whole number, the compiler might assume that it's an integer. If you give it a string, the compiler will assume that that variable is a string and will treat it as a string going forward. Note it is not possible to declare a variable using colon equal without assigning a value to it. So in C, I think this would be considered initialization, where you create the variable and you tell C what value the variable has at the same time. It's a sort of similar to that. All right, so variable declaration with initial value. If the value of a variable is known from the start, you can declare the variable, and assign a value to it in one line. So for example, var student string equals John, uh, type is string, var student2 equals Jane, type is inferred. So x colon equal 2, the type is inferred here. Compiler will be assuming that x is an integer. In this instance here, we're telling, where we say var student one string equals John, we're telling the compiler that this is a string. In the second instance, we say var student 2 equal Jane, we're inferring, or the compiler rather is going to infer that this is a string. And we have fmt print student1, fmt print line student2, fmt print line x. Right. Okay. Note that the All right, note that the variable type of student 2 and x is inferred from their values as we discussed just now. Variable declaration without an initial value. In Go, all variables are initialized, so if you declare a variable without an initial value, its value will be set to the default value of its type. For example, um, package main import format. All right, so let's run this example and see what happens when we run it. Right, so let's give this a run and see what we come up with. All right, so you can see there's a empty line here. So a string by default has no characters. Then we have 0 for the integer variable. And by default, Boolean, the bool variable type returns false. In this example, there are three variables, A, B, and C. These variables are declared, but they have not been assigned initial values. By running the code, we can see that they already have default values in their respective types. So as we discussed, A is an empty string, B is 0, and C would return false. Value assignment after declaration. It is possible to assign a value to a variable after it has been declared. This is helpful for cases where the value is not initially known. So we have another example program here. Let's give this a run and see what we get. So we run it and we got the output John. Right, so we declared the variable here, but did not assign a value to it. Then we did in the next line where we said student equals John, and then we decided to print it out in this line here, and we got our output, which is John. Note it is not possible rather to declare a variable using colon equal without assigning a value to it. All right, the difference between var and colon equal. There are some small differences between the var and colon equal variable assignments. Var can be used inside and outside of functions. Variable declaration and value assignment can be done separately. The colon equal can only be used inside functions, and variable declaration and value assignment cannot be done separately and must be done in the same line. All right, so we have another example here. One second. Okay, so this example shows declaring variables outside of a function with the var keyword. So we have our package main, our import fmt, and we have var a int, var b int equals 2, var c equals 3. So let's run it and see what output we get. Right, so we got 1, 2, 3. So the first line, we declared the variable a, but did not assign a value to it. The second line, we declared the variable b as an integer and we assigned 2 to it. In the third line, or line number 9 as the case may be, we assigned the variable c with the value, we inferred that c is going to be equal to 3. Then in function main, we assigned 1 to a. Then we printed out variables a, b, and c on separate lines. And we got the results 1, 2, and 3. As we can see, as we said before, 3 was inferred as the value type being integer for variable c. All right. Since colon equal is used outside of a function, running the program results in an error. So let's see what happens. Okay, so we have a syntax error, non-declaration statements outside of a function body, which is the inference statement a colon equals 1. As we can see, syntax error, non-declaration statement outside of function body. All right, so we have an exercise here for you if you guys would like to try it. Create a variable named mynum and assign the value 50 to it. So you can take a screenshot maybe, or maybe I will post this to my website with the notes and everything else, and you can do the code, do the example if you like, or you can just go where I got it, which is w3schools.com, search for the Go tutorial and follow along. All right, so you can do multiple variable declarations in Go. In Go, it's possible to declare multiple variables in the same line. For example, this example shows how to declare multiple variables in the same line. So let's give this a shot. All right, so we have 1, 3, 5, and 7. So you see the multiple variable declaration here, var a, b, c, d of type integer equals to 1, 3, 5, and 7. So basically, the first variable here gets assigned the first value here. Second variable gets assigned the second value. Third variable, the third value, which is 5. And the fourth variable, the fourth value, which is 7. If we print it, we see it comes out 1, 3, 5, and 7. right? Note, if you use the type keyword, it is only possible to declare one type of variable per line. If the type keyword is not specified, you can declare different types of variables in the same line. All right. So here we can see that we have our package statement, package main, our import statement, function declaration, and our variable declarations here and initialization. So we have var a and var b equals 6 and hello. cd infer 7 and hello and world. All right, so let's give this a shot, see what comes out. Right, so we have 6 hello 7 world. As we explained earlier, similar to earlier, where the first variable gets the first value and the second variable gets the second value. The same thing happens here, but we're not specifying the type, we're inferring the types. So we're not telling Go that, hey, variable A is an integer or variable B is a string. Go is going to be inferring from the values that we assign the type of variable that we want A and B to be. Same for C and D, and we print it out and we get the values at the bottom here. All right, multiple variable declarations can also be grouped together into a block for greater readability. So for example, we have var and we open left bracket, a int, b int equal 1, c string equal hello, close bracket. So we have a block variable declaration here, right? And of course, if we print it out, we're going to get a is going to be 0, b is going to be 1, and c is going to be hello. All right, so let's talk about some naming rules for Go variables. A variable can have a short name like X and Y, or a more descriptive name such as age, price, car name, etc. Go variable naming rules. A variable must start with a letter or an underscore character. A variable name cannot start with a digit. A variable name can only contain alphanumeric characters and underscores. So that's going to be letters A through Z or Z, and numbers 0 through 9, and of course the underscore character. Variable names are case sensitive, so age with the common A and age with a capital A and age all caps are three different variables. There is no limit to the length of a variable name. A variable name cannot contain spaces, and the variable name cannot be any Go keywords. So when doing variable names and you want them to be descriptive, you may need to use two words in the name. So for multi-word variable names with more than one word can be difficult to read. There are several techniques you can use to make them more readable. So you can do the camel case. So you start with a common M for my, capital V for variable, capital N for name. So my variable name, those are your three words. Then there is Pascal case, where each word starts with a capital letter. So my, capital M, variable, capital V, name, capital N. Then there's, of course, snake case. Each word is separated by an underscore character. So my underscore variable underscore name. And that will do it for this episode of Go by Example. Thank you for joining me. Hope you guys learned something. Like I said, if you like it, and see you on the next one.